My great-grandmother, Mary Jane Wilson. My grandma and Grandpa Braton. My dad's folks, Martha and William. My grandma, Ma, mother's mother, Catherine Ma. My grandpa Ma, mother's dad, John Ma. Grandma Ma, with her little friends she took care of. My mother, Clara Ma Braton. This picture was taken before they were married. My dad, Ben Braton. This was also taken before they were married. Mother going to town. Dad and mother taken by their front porch. Mother and dad on their 50th wedding anniversary. Cleo's mother and dad taken before they were married. Cleo's dad and mother taken in 1925. Mrs. Otteson and I. She taught at our school in 1907. I was 3 months old. Aunt Minnie and I. Me when I was 5 years old. My doll and I, Gladys and Thorold, up in the window. Gladys gave me my doll. Irene and me with our birthday cakes and new dresses. My birthday's in June and Irene's in July. I was 17 years old on this picture. All of our family, except the last two, Norman and Delos. Our family, except mother and dad. A picture of all my brothers. Our wedding picture. A picture of our first baby, Alvin. 3 years later, Shirlene came along. We were pretty proud to have a little boy and a little girl, Shirlene and Alvin. Dad and I, Alvin and Shirlene. Lorne's baby picture. Shirlene, Alvin, and Lorne. Valerie came to be with us, so we were proud again to think we had 2 little boys and 2 little girls. We are all on this picture. Cleo and I, this picture was taken before we were married. The wind was blowing, you can tell by his tie and my dress, just making a little fun. Reverend and Mrs. Andrews, October the 28th in 1926, he married us. Our first home we lived in, I had a lady draw a picture of it, and she didn't quite understand how I wanted it, so it was a little different from the real house that we lived in, 1926. Our second house, Sam and Gladys are in the buggy. Our third house in Lawndale, we lived there about 16 years. This is our home in Barnesville. I loved it every minute I lived there. After Dad passed away, it was too big for me to live alone, so I sold it in the year of 1977. I still miss it a lot. Dad and I, our 25th wedding anniversary at Fred and Irene Shepler home. This picture is our 40th anniversary, taken at the Eddie Dowell's place. This picture is of our cottage at Lake Lizzie. Our car we had, our family picture taken at Columbus, Ohio, all was here except Larry, and he was in service at that time. Shirlene is holding his picture. Our sons and wives and daughters and husbands taken at Columbus, Ohio also. All of our grandchildren. Debbie is holding Larry's picture as he was in the service. Shirlene and Morris and I with her 2 grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, Larry and Judy's children, Nancy and David. Larry and Judy's family, Nancy and David. Shirlene and Morris's picture. Our foster children comes now. Verna Nygaard. This is Donnie Finch. This is Patsy and Eileen King. And this one is little Kathy Ebert. This one is Donnie Olson. I enjoyed taking care of them all. Larry Thornton on leave from the service. came to see his grandma and grandpa. Our little home we bought next to our home we lived in. We rented the little home out. My move I made when I was alone. My home was too big for me, so I rented an apartment in the Robert Garrison in the Creamery apartment. Alvin and Peggy. Peg was sick on this picture. It was taken just before she passed away. Our family, except Shirley and Morris, this picture was taken at Mabel and Lauren's place. This picture is of Larry Thornton and Lauren Garrison talking over old times. Robert and Valerie's family picture, Debbie, Gina, and Gina's boyfriend. The Whitties and Thorntons met at Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the summer of 1984. Another one of them, Robert Whitty's family. It was cold in Sioux Falls, South Dakota that day. Tina and Lauren Garrison's family, Stacy, Thomas, Laurel, and her husband, Greg Peterson. Delos and Lila Braton, their children, Deanna and David. Pastor Danny Olson, his son Peter, and I going for a motorcycle ride. Lorne and I taking a motorcycle ride. It was fun. Me and my cowboy hat. The hat belongs to Larry. His family said I was lucky to have it on my head, as he wouldn't let anyone touch his hat. But I guess being it was his grandma, it was all okay. This is a picture of Don Nelson's dog, Sonny. I was feeding him.